Hello and welcome to your Quickie. Today I have in mind a class that is kind of based on what one particular student really enjoys. So we're going to have some alternate nostril breathing, but we're going to save that till the end of class. We're going to go through a flow to warm up and get ourselves ready for wheel and for headstand. Here we go. Finding your comfortable seat, letting the eyes fall closed, and starting to pull the awareness in. Starting to let go of the day so far, forgetting about anything that's on the agenda for later. This next period of time, it's just us, just right here and right now. Letting shoulders soften down away from the ears, the shoulder blades slide down the back. Imagining that little thread connected to the crown of the head, sitting you up just that little bit taller than usual. And starting to notice the breath. Not controlling it, but notice your baseline. Notice how you're arriving today. Then starting to soften through the rib cage and let the diaphragm drop. So starting to direct all of those inhales down into the belly space. Thinking about taking larger breaths than usual, but not so large that they're unnatural for you. Now for this next few moments, we're just going to breathe. When the mind starts to wander, bring it back to the sensation of breath. All right, now starting to deepen those breaths. Together, we're going to take a big inhale into the belly. And exhale. This next one is two-part breath. Into the belly, inhale. Ribs to the sides, up into that torso. Exhale. This next one's going to be three-part breath. Into the belly, inhale. Ribs to the sides. Up through the heart and clavicle, make yourself deep. Exhale. This will be our last one. At the end, we will exhale through the mouth. Big inhale into the belly. Ribs to the sides. Up through the heart and clavicle, think deep. Exhaling through the mouth with a sigh. Mo better. Inhaling the arms out and up, bringing the palms to touch. Exhaling down through heart center. Inhaling out and up, palms to touch. Exhaling down through heart center. Now when we do this, I want you to be thinking about your shoulder blade movement. Inhaling the arms out and up, palms to touch. Exhaling down through heart center. Make sure that everything is gliding. Inhaling out and up. Full awareness to those shoulder blades just for a moment. Exhaling down through heart center. Good. Another. Inhaling out and up. Make sure those shoulder blades are gliding. Good. Interlace fingers. Flip palms, press. Big inhale. On the exhale, we're going to tip to the right. Inhaling back center. On the exhale, tip left. Inhale back center. Dropping the right arm down, exhale. Take your time, just going as low as is comfortable. It's really easy for yoga to start to feel like a competition, right? Especially if you have that in your nature. You see somebody doing a pose that's maybe a little bit deeper than is natural for your body, and you start to think that there's something wrong with you, or that you should try harder, or, and the truth of the matter is, inhale, coming back center, engage the core. Exhale, coming left. But there's all kinds of different elements that go into our flexibility, and some of them are just anatomical structures that are different from person to person, and it's totally possible that one person has bones that allow them to go really deep and the other one does not. Could be as simple as that, inhaling back up, and no matter how hard you try, that level of flexibility just isn't available because your body's not built that way, and that's okay, right? Left hand, right knee, right hand behind, inhale tall, exhale twist from the bottom up. Good. Big inhale, engage the core. On the exhale, unwind from the top down. Right hand, left knee, left hand behind. Inhale, tall. Exhale, twist, bottom up. Beautiful. Big inhale, engage the core. On the exhale, unwind from the top down. All right. We're going to go into our tabletop. And then right into our cat pose. So pressing the ground away, tucking the tailbone, gaze drops to the navel. Noticing what's happening with the shoulder blades, right? They're sliding out and around the rib cage as you extend through the arms. Cow pose, letting the belly drop, the tailbone lift, the gaze gently lift. Heart pulling through. Good. Back into cat pose. Pay attention to those shoulder blades. Really let them slide to the outside of the rib cage. Good. Another cow pose. Belly drops, tailbone lifts, gaze gently lifts, heart pulls through, collarbones spread wide. So shoulder injuries are one of the most, well, no, I think they are the most common injury in yoga. And back into your cat pose, tuck the tailbone, gaze drops to the navel, press the ground away. I think a lot of it is that people are always eager to do things that they're just not prepared for. People don't really want to do the hard work, right? Returning, coming into a tabletop. Because let's chat. let's chat. Go ahead and have a seat. So especially when a hard pose is introduced to you, and maybe you can, nail it by putting your body in precarious situations and by stretching your strength to the very nth degree, where your body really can't handle it. Or I have one student who is just learning headstand, and she had gone to a studio where they encouraged her to kick up into headstand. So now she has had a taste of the success of headstand, but it's false success, right? It's done in a way that's dangerous and you should never do it. So whenever we try to go up into headstand in the safe way that I'll teach later, or the safer way, nothing's safe, she has a really hard time holding herself back from kicking up into the headstand. And of course I know this because I can see those muscles firing when the urge hits, right? Well, and then of course the foot flying through the air when it actually does happen. So it's really important to know that there's no hurry. There's never a hurry. It's not a competition at all. This is all about taking your body and slowly building those layers of strength, building those layers of flexibility, building those layers of understanding until you come to a point to where you can confidently and competently complete the poses, right? So never a hurry. With that said, back into the shoulders, right? So the shoulders are crazy anatomically. So if you take your finger and you find the collarbone, or the little clavicle points here, this little bump where the collarbone attaches to the rib cage here, that's the only place that your entire shoulder or shoulder socket connects with bone to the body. Think about that for a second. This little point right here is the only thing that connects your shoulder socket or your whole arm to your body with bone. The rest is just muscle. So anything that you do with the arm and the socket here has to be supported by the socket itself, which is braced by the shoulder blade. If you don't have the shoulder blade, the upper back activated, the shoulder blade held down, engaged, supported, then that arm bone going around in the socket is going to be a kind of a sloppier situation because the socket itself is going to be wiggling and moving around and things like that. So it's important when we are doing poses where we're up on our arms or even raising our arms, that we consider what's happening with the shoulder blades. So make sure that anytime that you're moving the arms, that your upper back isn't soft and relaxed and chill, right? We want to engage those muscles, pull the shoulder blades onto the rib cage. Now, watch what happens with the shoulders as I pull the shoulder blades onto the rib cage. Whoop. So see what happens? So I'm not doing this, right? Because that's a really weak position, right? Pulling the shoulder blades just straight back like that, that's weak. Pull them down the back, like you're putting them in your pockets. See what happens? So there's a bone on the top here called the acromion process, and when people lift their arms like so, the arm bone smashes the bicep tendon into the acromion process if it's forward. If the acromion process is open by engaging the muscles to pin the scapula to the rib cage, now there's all of this room before the arm bone ever gets to the acromion process, right? So just keep that in mind as we're going through practice. Engage the upper back muscles, pin the shoulder blades to the rib cage. You want them to slide naturally, of course, but you want to have that strong muscle engagement anytime you're bearing weight in the arms and anytime the arms are coming above head. All right, coming into our tabletop. And we're going to do just some warm-ups for the upper back and the scapula. So arms are going to be straight here. We're going to let ourselves sink down into the shoulders. So the shoulder blades are sticking up behind us most likely. And then we're going to press the ground away, wrapping the shoulder blades around the outside of the rib cage. Feel how strong that feels when you're fully extended like that? Sink it down. Arms are straight. Press it up, wrap it around. Good. Sink it down. Press it up, wrap it around. Sink it down. Press it up, wrap it around. Good. Another one, sink it down. Press it up, wrap it around. Good. All right, so from here, we are in the up position. We're going to step those feet back to plank. Now we're just going to hold this for not too long, just getting some activation, right? Not here, here. All right, we're going to start to bend those knees and lift the hips up and back into our first downward dog of the day. Take your time as you start to walk the heels, straightening the knees out just a little bit over time as you start to warm up. The hamstring muscles are big and they take a long time to warm up and stretch, so don't just force your way through it. Doing that's going to really pull on the low back, and nobody needs that. Taking a minute to think about your foundation. How did your hands end up? Are your fingers nice and wide? Good engagement through the index knuckle, through the thumb? Good, all right. So we're gonna keep the upper body extended. Bend those knees deep, press off with the feet, wave through the spine into chaturanga. Bad place for those blocks. Press it up and send it back. We're going to do another one like that. Bend those knees deep. Press off, wave. Press it up, send it back. Think about those shoulder blades. Bend those knees deep, press off, wave. The shoulder blades are out, up, and back. Good. Another one. Bend those knees deep. Press it up. Wave. Good. Up and back. All right. Looking between the hands, walk those feet forward. Inhaling to your halfway lift. And exhale into your forward fold. So bend those knees a lot. And then slowly straighten them over time, maybe an elephant walk. So I do have a spinal injury, and so, my forward folds are they're a little bit halfway lifty, if I'm to be honest, and that's because I'm taking care not to pull on the low back, because the consequences for me of doing that is like a week of barely being able to stand up. So for me, I go to what I know is safe for me, which is about here, and then just slowly and gently work my way into it. Now, if you're super flexy in the hamstrings, by all means, bring your forehead to your shins. That's fantastic. Always pay attention to where the bend is coming from. As long as it's coming from the pelvis tilting forward, you're golden. As soon as it starts to transition into that low back, you're not doing what you want, and you should probably stop there. Alrighty. Big old bend in those knees, engage the core. Thinking reverse swan dive. Inhale, rise. Surya Namaskar, A, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Chaturanga, exhale. Up dog or cobra, inhale. These are in my way. Hips up and back, exhale. Good. Looking between the hands, hopper walk, halfway lift. Forward fold, exhale. And inhale, rise. Beautiful forward fold. Halfway lift. Chaturanga. Really think about those shoulder blades. Up dog or cobra. Hips up and back. Good. We'll do one more. Looking between the hands, hopper walk, halfway lift. Forward fold, exhale. And inhale, rise. All right. We're going to exhale those arms. We're going to bring the heels wide, the toes in. We're going to come in for a bit of a forward fold. Take your time getting there. Once you hit that resistance, go ahead and slow down, and then start to work your way into the stretch from there. All right. So option one for headstand. We're going to get into headstand. So something to think about, okay? This is important. You see, Instagram pictures, and even you might see somebody do it in a class. You might even see somebody teaching it, where people have a lot of weight on their heads, where maybe they'll have their arms extended to demonstrate how much weight they can hold with their neck. Well, that's just stupid. Yay for you, good job, but that's just stupid. Your neck isn't made for that. Are you walking around carrying a suitcase on your head? If you are, then probably you'll be okay. But no, we're not. Our necks are not that strong. They are not that strong. So somebody that's doing that, either they're going to really regret it later, and they're going to have some really neat x-rays of their neck that'll show some interesting things, or for some reason they have thicker than usual neck vertebra and they can handle it, or they have a lifestyle where they're spending a lot of time on their head. That does not mean that you should try it. Just because you see somebody else do something does not mean that you should try it. It does not mean that it's right, okay? So as we come into headstand, I want you to think about having 90% of your weight in your arms. I'm not going to teach an unsupported headstand ever. We only do supported headstands. So the first entry that you can take, and if you have the flexibility to do it and all of the right little elements to make this happen, Awesome. Some people don't. A lot of people don't. So if this doesn't work, no big deal. We're going to do it a different way in a second. So we'll come down. We're going to make a support with our hands. So we're going to interlace the fingers. The pinkies are going to be one on top of the other to create a really flat surface all the way along the bottom of the hands, right? So we're not crossing the pinkies, but we have one in front of the other, all right? We're going to plant that down, the top of the head down. Thumbs wrap around the back of the head. Elbows just maybe a little bit wider than shoulder distance. And then we'll rock forward until the feet start to feel light, and then we'll lift them. Now I am pressing hard through the arms. Give that a try if you want to, if you feel safe. Remember, 90% of the weight is in the arms. Now, if you're up in that, go ahead and start bringing the legs wide to bring them down. Shift the hips forward to keep yourself from thumping back. Good. Alrighty. So we're going to go into a different version of headstand now. So this is the version that is accessible to most people, but it can also be really tricky because learning to allow the hips to come over the shoulders is scary. Our body is like, no, that's not where they go, right? Because it's that sensation of, oh, I'm going to fall, you know. So it's really tricky for some people. Their bodies just don't want them to do it. So we're going to start in tabletop. We're going to set the hands up, bringing the forearms down, elbows are under the shoulders, maybe a little bit wider, not a lot. Pinkies are side by side. We're going to bring the top of the head down into the hands, or top of the head's on the mat, back of the head's in the hands, thumbs bracing the base of the skull. Tucking the toes, lifting the hips, remembering that the weight is in the arms here. Walk the feet in until the hips get close to over the shoulders. We're going to tuck in one leg, tuck in the other leg, and then open them both together. Weights in the arms. There's a tendency to get lazy and let the weight transfer to the neck. Keep it in the arms. Now, when you're ready to come down, you can do one knee at a time, you can do two knees at a time. Notice how no impact that was on the neck. Now go ahead and grab a block. We're going to rest our necks. If you don't have a block handy, you can just stack two fists, and that's great. There was no jumping. There was nothing even close to jumping. There is no jumping in headstand, ever. Stop it. Good. All right. So we're going to come into a little bit of a standing balance, and we're going to do this just to get ourselves nice and ready for our wheel pose, okay? So we're going to come up, and we're going to come into dancer pose. We're going to do dancer without a strap today. So we'll find our balance on our left foot, bend the right knee, and then I'll leave this up to you. You can grab the foot from the big toe side or from the pinky toe side. Either way is going to be fine. The only thing is you want to think about the knee. So grabbing it from the big toe side can encourage the knee to kind of flare up to the side. So you're going to have to actively pull it down a little bit more than if you do the pinky side. But either way is fine, okay? So you're going to kick the foot into the hand to start to create a back bend. Once you have your back bend, Extend the arm and then tip forward. Good. And when you're ready, coming out of it, I can tell I'm stiff today. All right, finding your balance on the right foot. Kicking the left foot into the hand. Tipping forward once you have your back bend. Good. Beautiful. And coming out. Good job. We're going to come down to our yogi squat. Now, if this is hard for you, spend some time in the pose, right? Like after class is done, go and just sit against a wall for a few minutes in this pose. Yes, I said a few minutes. If it starts to hurt, come out of it, but otherwise, a little bit of time spent in this pose will be good for you. Something to pay attention to, there's a difference between something that needs to be stretched and something that's in compression, right? So if you feel tight, but you can move, then that's probably something that can be stretched, right? But if you feel tight and you're like solid locked, you're probably bone on bone and that's just your anatomy. And you're not gonna be able to stretch through that. So trying to stretch through something that is compression is just gonna cause irritation and pain. You'll never actually get any more range of motion out of that. So just pay attention to what your body feels like. Since we're here, we might as well crow. So knees in the armpits, bring the hands down up on the toes, shoulders over wrists, chaturanga the elbows, bringing those big toes to touch. I love this version. It's beautiful, it's strong, it's compact. This version is better if bringing the thighs to the rib cage isn't comfortable or isn't something that you can do. So you'll just plant the hands, bring the knees to the notch above the elbow, shift forward, bringing toes to touch. This one is a lot more accessible for a lot of people, just because the other version takes a certain amount of flexibility that may or may not be available. Good. How'd you do? All right. We're going to come to our backs, and we're going to get ready for wheel pose. So windshield wiper. Okay, we're going to bring the heels in to where you can reach them. Now remember, as we start to go into our bridge pose or our wheel pose, we don't want the knees to do this big spread wide thing, right? Coming a little bit wide is okay, but you don't want them to be like flopping. So think about keeping an energetic pull together to keep the strength, right? All right, so reaching for the toes, we're going to go into just a simple bridge. Pressing into the feet to lift the hips, and then use the glutes and the core. Really, it's the glutes, isn't it? Using the glutes to lift the thighs up towards the ceiling. Good, and lower it down. If you want to walk the shoulders under you on this next one, go for it. All right, we're going to press into the feet, lift the hips, lengthen through the spine, use those glutes. Wonderful. Bring them down. We're going to do a little windshield wiper. And then we're going to get up into that wheel pose. Now, if wheel pose isn't something that you want to do or you know that it's not good for your body, don't do it. Go ahead and do another bridge pose, and that will be totally fine. Otherwise, if you want to come into the wheel pose, follow me. Bringing the hands outside of the ears, the fingers are pointing back. Remember the knees, don't let them flail too far to the outside. We're going to press into the feet, lifting the hips, and then press into the arms strongly to get that whole body up into wheel. Good. Once you're there, if you want to, you can come up on the toes. When you're ready to come out, tuck the chin, lower down, and roll yourself to the floor. Windshield wipers. Good job. Alrighty. So this is how the end of class today is going to go. We're going to do a moment in Shavasana to let everything integrate, and then we're going to sit up, and we're going to do our alternate nostril breathing. So bringing those knees in for a squeeze, big inhale. On the exhale, we're going to drop them right. We're going to do just our quick side to side. These classes are called quickies for a reason, darn it. Got to keep them short. Bringing the knees back center. Any transitional movement that you want here, totally good. Bring them in for a squeeze. Big inhale. On the exhale, drop them left. Good. Bring them back center. Give them a big squeeze, big inhale. And on your exhale, extending into Shavasana. Take a moment. Let yourself soften. Let go of breath control. Allow breath to just flow naturally. All right. A little bit of wiggle in the fingers and toes. Maybe reaching those arms overhead for that big stretch. And then rolling onto whichever side that you want to. Taking a moment here. Then using just as little effort as possible, make your way up to your comfortable seat. Keeping the eyes closed or the gaze lowered. All right. Now we're going to go straight from here into some alternate nostril breathing. So whichever hand you prefer, index finger, peace finger to the third eye, and we will alternate with the ring finger and thumb. So first we're going to block the right nostril, inhaling through the left. Block left, exhaling right. Inhaling right. Block right, exhaling left. Bonus points if you're also doing belly breath. Inhaling left. Block left, exhale right. Inhale right. Block right, exhale left. Inhale left. Block left, exhale right. Inhale right. Block right, exhale left. One more round. Inhale left. Block left, exhale right. Inhale right. Block right, exhale left. Lower the hand, let that go. We're going to do a vagus nerve reset. Boy, we're going to have such soothed nervous systems after this class. Yay for us. So we're going to tip the head back, open the eyes, and lift the gaze as far back as you can get it. It's So you're looking for that yawn response or the sense that you want to take a deep breath. Once you get it, go ahead and bring the head back center. Eyes can be gently open with a soft gaze, or they could be closed. It's up to you. So if you're still looking back with the eyes, looking for that sense of release, go ahead and hang out there until you find it. I would imagine followed by alternate nostril breathing, though it probably came quick. All right. So here we go. Inhaling the arms, out and up. Bringing palms to touch. Exhaling down through heart center. Inhaling out and up. Grab that arm load of healing energy. Exhale. Pull it down to heart center. Feel the warmth. See the glow. And the last time, inhaling out and up. Bringing palms to touch. Exhaling down to the third eye for the mind, the heart center, for the body and spirit. Namaste. Yep, that worked. All right. Thank you so much for joining me for this quickie today. Take this peaceful, easy feeling out into the community. Spread some joy, spread some love. Smile at people even if they're frowning at you. Have a wonderful day. See you next time. Bye.